Nordic skiing has never been an arena where American athletes have fared very well, which made today's events here in Oberstdorf quite remarkable. 29-year-old Kerry Lynch from Denver, Colorado stunned the favored Europeans and earned the first American medal in the history of the Nordic Combined World Championship or Olympic competition. Yesterday in the 70-meter jump, Lynch recorded the longest first-round jump and eventually settled into 7th place after the first day of competition. Not bad for an athlete battling back from 2 major knee surgeries. Then today in the 15-kilometer cross-country event, Kerry, a veteran of 2 Olympics, put together perhaps the race of his life. Lynch parlayed his skill to finish second behind Norway's Tobjorn Loekken and bring home the silver. My colleague Bill Koch, a silver medalist in 1976, spoke to Kerry after today's medal ceremony.
Kerry, this is so well-deserved and so long overdue. Yeah. It's been a really tough and frustrating comeback for you, hasn't it?
Sure has, but I had a good feeling coming in here. We trained here this summer, we trained here after the World Cups, and I had a good feeling about this, and it just worked out. Winning the silver has been great.
Kerry, you've had 2 major operations. How has this affected you, and what about your recovery as far as your future?
Well, I haven't been able to train as effectively as I would have liked to have coming here, but it leaves me optimistic for my chances for Calgary next year. I'm really going to train hard and see what happens.
So for Kerry Lynch, a moment to remember it for the U.S. ski team, perhaps an optimistic prelude of things to come at this year's World Championships.
Thank you, Becky. It's very nice to be here. It's a special week for me to be here at Wide World of Sports, but it's also been a very special week over here in Oberstdorf, mainly because Kerry Lynch with a surprise second-place finish yesterday in the Nordic Combined. And with me for the World 90-meter ski jumping championship is Jeff Hastings, almost won a bronze medal in Sarajevo in 1984. Tell me about the format here.
Well, Jim, what we got here is a 2-jump format. Every jumper gets 2 jumps. There are 2 rounds. The highest total, the jumper with the highest points over those two jumps is the winner.
How about the facilities here in Oberstdorf?
The facilities are perfect. As you would expect in a World Championship, everything has been groomed right to perfection. The really neat part is just the electricity that has come out of not only all of Germany, but all of Europe. I mean, today we had 30,000 spectators out there watching this event.
So let's go look at the last 3 jumpers on the leaderboard in the second round. Stay with us.
This is Andy Felder.
From Austria, jumped very well. The 2 best training jumps yesterday.
Held on. He's happy with it. Let's look for the replay. He jumped 110 meters in his first jump. Let's see what this is. 112 and a half, the farthest jump so far today. Here he comes again. Let's take a look at it. He's so explosive. He's so good. Keeping that upper body so low. Driving right over the knoll and just stretching it for all it's worth there. Beautiful landing. It should be good points. 18.5, 17.5, fantastic points. He's in first place, 216 points. He's 8 points ahead of Vegar Opaz.
In the starting gate, Miran Tepic of Yugoslavia, 25 years of age. He's had a solid year, 3 fourth-place finishes.
And that kind of explains Miran. He's always in there, but he's never on top. I'm going to be really surprised if he can pull ahead here. He's
112 meters, Jeff, in the first round.
And he's off flying. He wants this one. This is a World Championship. Hit it cleanly, having 1 tip hanging there. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Andy Felder's going to hold on through that one. We got 1 more skier, and it's just a young East German that nobody's heard of before,
well,
Jim.
The big surprise here, only 18 years of age, Mike Arnold is the last skier here in Oberstdorf in the second round. He jumped 111 meters in the first round, and yet was out-jumped distance-wise, but was still leading because of style.
And does he look cool? Look at him there at 18 years old. He's just come to place in the World Junior competition about 2 weeks ago. Nobody's ever heard of him.
And what is he thinking about right here?
I'll tell you, I don't know. I would be panicking, but it sure doesn't look like he is. He looks so cool. I don't know if he can do it. Andy Felder has such a good jump. Mike Arnold hits it pretty cleanly. He's flying it nicely. It's a good, clean jump. I don't know what it's going to do. Andy Felder's got his arms up. He thinks he's got him beat. Let's wait for the distance and the judges' points. I'll tell you, regardless, that was a heck, 105 meters for Mike Arnold. That was a heck of an effort nonetheless. We have a world champion in Andy Felder, 90 meter.
Well, you look from his face, That tells you everything. He's happy.
There it is. It's official. It's on the board. World champion Andy Felder from Austria. Looking for his best friend, Ernst Vittori. Here he comes. There they are. Austria first and third.
Well, first place, Felder of Austria, Oppas of Norway second, Vittori of Austria third, and 31st place, Mike Holland.
Not much changes in a year. These Austrians are going to be tough. They were formidable today. They could be even tougher next year.
Okay, well, from Oberstdorf, West Germany, it's cold here, and back to you, Frank. Have a good day.
And in the shadows of the Bavarian Alps, well, this is it. Magnificent. Hi again, everyone. I'm Mike Adamle here in Oberstdorf, West Germany. And you know, one of the things the Europeans do just about as well as anybody else is mix sporting competition with pleasure. Now, less than 100 meters from the start line inside the cross-country stadium is the beer hall. And inside here, the top priority is having a good time. Come on, I'll show you what I mean. It's a cacophony of sights, sounds, and smells, a time for munching, music, and merriment. And it doesn't matter if you're young or old. The only requirement for entrance is the desire to make merry. And this is just a prelude to today's event, the men's 4x10 kilometer relay. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your Saturday Bavarian style on
Oberstdorf make it one of the most beautiful winter sports areas in the world. And enjoying it all now is Mike Adamle. Mike, the Olympics are now just a year away. It's what we'll be seeing today at the World Championships, a prelude to next year in Calgary.
Indeed they are, Becky. In fact, it's a good bet that many of the medal winners here in Oberstdorf will ascend the victory stand in Calgary, Canada at the Winter Olympics. You know, the Nordic style of skiing, unlike or in contrast with its alpine downhill cousin, has been around for centuries and can be traced back to the days of ancient Scandinavia, when man used the ski as the primary mode of transportation during the wintertime. Since then, it's undergone a constant and fascinating evolution. Now, today's event, the men's 4x10 kilometer relay, one of the premier events in Nordic skiing. And here to help us with the call, one of our Olympic heroes, Bill Koch, a silver medalist in 1976, World Cup champion in 1982. Bill?
Well, Mike, one of the exciting things about a relay is that it's always unpredictable and full of surprises. Well, right now, the Swedes have very good depth. They have Thomas Wassberg and Gunde Svan, and they're the best in the world. But this is a relay, and they'll be strongly challenged by the Norwegians, the Finns, the Soviets, and the Italians.
So we're set to go, the men's 4x10 kilometer relay from Longloft Stadium. Oberstdorf, normally a peaceful Bavarian town, but the World Cross Country Championships have turned it upside down. Record crowds have filled the stadium during the past week and a half. Today, maybe the largest crowd of all, because one of the premier events, the men's 4x10 kilometer relay race, and it's just getting underway. 18 countries are represented. Each team has 4 skiers. Each will cover 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles. That's twice around this 5K course. Norway is the defending world champion, having won that title in Seefeld, Austria, 1985. Sweden won the last Olympic race in Sarajevo in 1984. Now, Bill, it looks a little chaotic out there, but I imagine there is a strategic battle being waged.
That's right. In the start here, it's very important strategically. Now, usually there'll be a jackrabbit out front to break the wind, and in this case, the best racers are going to let him go because the course starts downhill, and they'll let the rabbit work. Taking a safe number 4 position is Sweden's magic starter, Erik Östlund.
But, Billy, as the skiers head for the icy, snowy cross-country terrain outside the stadium, it's France, followed by East Germany and the USSR. Now, ideally, cross-country courses are designed to include a variety of challenges, uphills, downhills, and flats. Bill, what about the course here in Oberstdorf?
Here's the 2-lap 5-kilometer course. The Bergstall climb rises over 300 vertical feet in less than a mile. Next comes the treacherous Reed downhill with excessive speeds making luck as much a factor as skill. Freiburg is the last major climb before the final stretch. Racers must climb over 1,300 vertical feet, mostly up very steep, brute strength uphills, not requiring much skill.
And indeed, it is a test of stamina. Erik Östlund from Sweden now about to complete the first 10 kilometers of the course. The West Germans are in second place, followed by the Soviet Union in third. Östlund about to tag his teammate, Gunde Svan. He is off on the second leg, Bill.
Oh, Mike, look at this. It's going to be a mass tag, and that can get tricky with skating.
The West Germans in the light blue tag second. The Soviets third, and Norway is down. That's Ove Aunle falling down. He still hasn't tagged his teammate, Vegard Ulvang, but there he finally does. So so a tough break for Norway. Now here is Gunde Svan working up the uphill section of the course, one of the uphill sections of the course. Ulvang, however, has made up some of that lost territory. He is now second. Great comeback indeed. Vladimir Smirnov for the Soviet Union is third, followed by the Czechs, the Finns, and the West Germans. But Svan is the man to beat, a three-time world champion, but some very troublesome rib cartilage has hindered his performance in Oberstdorf. Bill talked to Svan earlier in the week about it.
In the beginning of the World Championships, I don't know, but I feel a pain in my chest, and I think it was a problem with a high level from the sea, and it began in Davos, but now I know it's in the muscle and the rib sticks here to take the chest, so it being smaller to breathe, and that's a big problem.
The talented Gunde Svan, Sweden. What about it, Bill? Is he fresh or is he tired, or the ribs a problem?
Well, Gunde does look a little bit tired here. I'd say he's a bit vulnerable, Mike.
He's dipped down into his tuck, one of the downhill sections of the course. Here comes Norway's Vegard Ulvang. Remember, his teammate Ove only fell, so he was fourth at the start of this leg. He is now second, followed by the Soviet Vladimir Smirnov.
Well, now here, look, you're looking at the best skier in the world, having to check his speed, not daring to go all out. Looking good around the corner, though. Some great control.
The Reed downhill, very treacherous, much like skating down the side of an ice cube. And there goes Norway's Vegard Ulvang. He goes down, skiing past him, so he'll lose a place. There goes the Soviet Vladimir Smirnov. As I mentioned, a very treacherous section of the course, perhaps even unfair, unrealistic. Bill explains.
Mike, the design of today's racing courses are, in my opinion, flawed because they don't sufficiently challenge the skiing skills of the racers. For instance, here we have a downhill which is so fast that it's impossible for the racers to be in sufficient control. The equipment just isn't designed for it. We need corners and bumps and dips and slower speeds to sufficiently challenge their skills. This is a perfect example of what will happen during the race.
Bill, you turned out to be a prophet, and they tell us the course in Calgary, the Olympic course, is much the same.
Well, Mike, I just skied there, and I'm afraid to say that the uphills are even more grunty than these, and the downhills even more treacherous.
But Norway's Vegard Ulvang doesn't seem to mind. Look at the ground he has made up on Gunde Svan. This is the second time that Ulvang has made a comeback during the second leg. He has almost caught Svan as they head towards the exchange point. The Norwegians on the sidelines rooting their countrymen on, and it looks like Ulvang has done a very good job of bringing his team back into contention. And we'll be back with more of this exciting men's 4x10-kilometer relay race right after, with more of the men's 4x10-kilometer relay. Paul Gunnar Mikkelsplas, bib number 1 from Norway, with the lead over Thomas Wassberg of Sweden in second and Mikhail Diviatirov of the Soviet Union in third. They are followed in fourth, fifth, and sixth by the Italian, the Czechoslovakian, and the West German. Bill, at this stage of the race, the third leg, what about the pace?
Well, the first three racers had a very, very slow pace. That can't keep on like that.
Well, Wassberg of Sweden has decided to do something about that pace. Moving behind the pines. Let's watch him. He's kicking it into overdrive. Has he? Yes, he has passed Mikkelsplas of Norway. So has the Soviet Diviatirov. Right now, Wassberg and Diviatirov are 1-2 going into this uphill section of the course, Bill.
Well, this is no picnic now, Mike. Look what a big chunk they are taking of each skating stride up the hill. They are really ripping now, and they're just about to the top of the course.
30-year-old Thomas Wassberg with the lead. What a world championships he has had. This was the scene earlier this week when he won the 30K race, Bill.
Yes, he's had an incredible performance in the 30-kilometer, which he won by a full 2 minutes. He's a very psychologically tough, wise, and experienced championship skier.
Well, he'll need that experience now because Diviatirov from the Soviet Union has taken the lead. Right on his heels, Wassberg pushing, pulling, trying to stay even with Diviatirov.
He has his hands full with Diviatirov here. He's tried to put 2 moves on Diviatirov with no luck. Now he's just hanging on for all he has.
Meanwhile, Bill Spencer from the USA out on the course. They are having a tough time in the World Championships. They do have a medal by Kerry Lynch in the Nordic Combined. Meanwhile, here's Diviatirov going down the Reed downhill. Can he stay on top of his skis? No, he goes down. Wassberg goes right by him, but Diviatirov smart enough, composed enough to pick himself up and follow right on Wassberg's heels. heels.
That's right, and Thomas is smart enough to milk that one for all it's worth. He is gone.
Wassberg has given his anchorman Torgny Mogren quite a lead. The number you see in the right-hand corner of your screen is the number of seconds the Soviets are behind in second place. This is the Norwegian skier, Paul Gunnar Mikkelsplas, about to complete his third leg. Now, meanwhile, back on the Reed downhill section of the course, it is still very treacherous, very tricky. That is Elaine Masson of Canada going down.
Mike, can you imagine the mess if the leader of the pack fell on the first lap in the same situation?
And Elaine's still having trouble getting up on his skis. Meanwhile, here comes Torgny Mogren from Sweden, about to cross the finish line. He skied a beautiful anchor leg. Mogren second in the overall World Cup standings coming into this race. He brings home the gold for Sweden.
Yes, the Swedes are very strong today. They did have some lucky breaks, but still they have been totally dominant in these games, and they'll be the team to beat next year.
Now, the Soviet Union never really recovered from the fall by Mikhail Deviatirov on that third leg. Nevertheless, that's Vladimir Sakhnov skating home with the silver medal. They had a fine race today. And here is Terje Longley of Norway. It looks like Norway will get the bronze medal here at the World Championships. A great effort by all three teams. So it's Sweden, the USSR, and Norway 1, 2, and 3. And that about does it here from Oberstdorf. I'm Mike Adamley for Bill Koch with a reminder, please join us tomorrow for the women's 4x5 kilometer relay. Auf Wiedersehen. Country skiing championships in Oberstdorf, West Germany is made of snow and ice, as you might expect. And if the form chart holds true, well, after today's event, the women's 4x5 kilometer relay, the Norwegian team will be walking up these steps to accept their medal. Our Bill Koch made this trip before back in 1976 when he won the silver in the 30-kilometer race back in Innsbruck, Austria. And, Bill, what makes the Norwegian women so dominant?
Well, this is the most popular sport in Norway, and there's a lot of national pride and riding on how these skiers do. And right now, there's a lot of magic in the Norwegian program. A lot of racers racing very fast. But what that does is they push each other to higher and higher levels. But at the same time, this is a relay, Mike, and really in a relay, it's very unpredictable. Almost anything can happen.
Well, as we showed you yesterday, anything can happen and usually does inside the festive beer halle. Before or after any race, fans get together like the Norwegians and put away their patriotic loyalties for the moment and revel in international camaraderie. Bavarian music and assorted culinary delights make a trip to the beer halle an absolute must for any experienced cross-country aficionado. On the race course, however, it's all business. This is the women's 4x5 kilometer relay.
Well, Mike, despite the fact that this is a freestyle race, you can see here they're all doing the classical double pole. It's against the rules to skate in the first 100 meters.
But now they're past that first 100 meters, and they are skating. 12 countries all vying for the gold medal. The Soviet Union is the defending world champion.
Okay, now here they're just going to be jockeying for position. Again, we have the first part of the course being downhill, so if there's some rabbits out there that want to go do the work, the foxes are going to let them go.
Bill, I love that analogy. The rabbit at the moment right now is Marcela Yebova from Czechoslovakia. She has the early lead. Right behind her from Italy, Vice Vanzetta. The Italians have been skiing very well in this World Championship. And then behind her in third place, Marianne Dalmo of Norway. There's a look at Yebova in first place. You know, 2/3 of the individual races here at the World Championships are skied in what they call the classical technique. The relays are skied in what they call the freestyle technique, and earlier Bill and I went out to explain the difference between the two. The single biggest revolution in the sport of cross-country skiing occurred in the early 1980s, and it was pioneered by Bill Koch. What happened was the conventional technique of skiing, the conventional style, the diagonal stride, was abandoned for a faster and what some people say more efficient way of skiing, quite simply called the skate, where the skiers would skate across the snow. And Bill, it looks like you still have your medal-winning form. And speaking of form, this is the form of Marianne Dalmo from Norway. She is about to complete the first leg here. She will tap off to her teammate Nina Scheima. The Norwegians have a huge lead after 5 kilometers. And the number you see in the right-hand corner of your screen is the time differential between first and second place. That's how much time the Italians have to make up behind first place Norway.
But this is quite a story now with the Italians being this far up this late in the race. Now going in the tag here, it has to be hand to body. And the tag is a little tricky now with the skating technique and the ski poles getting mixed up.
So after 5 kilometers, it's Norway, Italy, and the USSR. This is Nina Scheima of Norway. She's going up the uphill section called the Bergstall here in Oberstdorf.
Oh, Mike, there goes the Soviet skier on the left of the screen. She is just annihilating this hill, taking huge chunks on each stride.
That's Nina Gavriluk from the Soviet Union, 21 years old from Leningrad. She has just passed the Italian skier. And this is a look at Marianne Erniger from Switzerland. The Swiss are in 4th. And Gavriluk is not finished. She is going after first place right now. She is chasing after Nina Scheima, and it looks like on this uphill section, Bill, she has passed her.
Yes, the Soviets are always very, very strong in their upper body, and this is just the kind of course for them where it's very steep, grunty uphills.
The two women a study in contrast. Scheima good on the flats, Gavriluk good on the downhills. Here's Scheima now pulling away and taking the lead back from Gavriluk.
Yes, she has very, very good flat technique here, and she also has fast skis, so the pressure is really on.
Bill, when you say fast skis, is it because of the wax or is it because of the technique?
Well, it's both, Mike. She has very good flat technique here, but it's also a question of correctly matching the skis and the wax to the snow conditions of the day.
Well, whatever it is, Nina is doing it extremely well. She has given Norway the lead after 10 kilometers. The Soviet Union is second, and we'll be back with more of this 4x5 relay after this. Oberstdorf, the women have just about completed the third leg of this 4x5-kilometer relay race. The Soviet Union has now taken the lead from Norway. Annette Boe will skate the last leg for Norway, but that was Larissa Titsina from the Soviet Union who has gone down. Now she finally tags on FIS Letsova. So the Soviets have dropped behind. Bill, let's take another look. What happened?
Well, the Soviet skier does not see Annette Boe's pole and trips over right there. Now she still has not tagged. She must get up and go after the tag.
So Annette Boe, wearing bid number 2 for Norway, now has a slight lead, but on FIS Letsova has made up a lot of time, and there was an interesting contrast in techniques. Annette Boe is skating, and on FIS Letsova has decided to stay in the tracks. Now, Annette Boe is Norway's most veteran female Nordic skier, defending world champion at 5 and 10 kilometers, and as Bill found out, a tremendous competitor.
Annette, it looks like you've hurt your finger. What happened, and will that affect any of your races?
No, I don't think so. I had a little fun fight with one of the physical therapists. So I had some, it's not broken, so I can ski. I mean, when you race, it hurts, the whole body hurts, and if even a little finger hurts, it's just, that's a challenge, whatever.
Well, Annette certainly has a challenge here because there goes the Soviet as they approach the high point of the course. The Soviet is looking very much stronger than Annette. She's just going to try to hang on. But in addition to this, the Soviet has faster skis than Annette. No, Annette cannot hang on. It looks like that's the race.
And now a look at Simona Opitz of East Germany in contention for the bronze medal. She's skiing very well. Behind her, Marie-Helene Westin of Sweden. That's the battle for 3rd and 4th. Now, crossing the finish line, however, is on FIS Letsova of the Soviet Union. Letsova was the only member of the defending world champion Soviet team. They were a young team coming into this world championship, but they have done it today largely on the strength of Letsova's 4th and final leg. Quite an effort, Bill Koch.
Well, that's for sure. You know, she was not only very, very superior from a physical point of view today, but her skis were very fast and everything going for her.
And for Annette Boe from Norway, perhaps a bitter disappointment, but she has nothing to be ashamed of. She has skied very well in this race, and she will give Norway and her 3 teammates the silver medal here at these World Championships. Farther Further out on the course, the battle between Simona Opitz of East Germany and Marie-Helene Westin of Sweden for third and fourth place. Opitz has the lead right now, but here comes Westin, skating on the outside, skiing hard on the outside, and she will pass Opitz. What an effort by Marie-Helene Westin of Sweden. It looks like she's going to do it, Bill.
Yes, this is an upset now. The Swedish women aren't as strong as the men are, so this was not expected.
Marie-Helene Westin crosses the finish line for Sweden. They win the bronze medal. What an effort. Lungs are burning, the muscles in both the arms and legs very fatigued. It's written all over that picture right there. Once again, the final standings in the women's 4x5 kilometer relay. The Soviet Union wins the gold, Norway wins the silver, and Sweden brings home the bronze. For the past 12 days here in the press center, the journalists of the world have been documenting the exploits of the very best in world cross-country skiing. But Bill, before we leave Oberstdorf, what kind of stories will we take back with us?
Well, we thought the Norwegians were going to dominate the ladies' competition, but not one gold medal. The Soviets won the relay, and the Finns and Swedes won the individual events. As for the men, we have three big stories. First, our own Kerry Lynch made an almost impossible comeback from two major knee surgeries and won a silver medal in Nordic Combined. And the most dominating skier was Thomas Wassberg. He won a medal in every single event, 2 golds and 2 silvers. And I'd say the biggest surprise was the Italians. 2 gold medals in the individual events, and nobody would have ever predicted that one.
One other note, the crowds here in Oberstdorf were 6 times as large as those at Crown Montagne at the recent World Alpine Skiing Championships, so that's quite a challenge to the North American Nordic skiing fans. Until we meet again in Calgary, Canada, I'm Mike Adamley for Bill Koch, saying Auf Wiedersehen from the Bavarian.